Jack,
Yeah,
what is your name?
that's a good start. Not Jack. My name is Jacopo Mario. Yeah,
Jacopo
Mario
Mario?
is the last name.
And
actually.
what do you study?
I study psychology. I'm a third-year student at the University of Groningen in the Netherlands.
Nice, nice. And tell me a bit about yourself, mate.
Yeah, okay. I should keep it short. I'm a really, really big basketball fan, really
Yeah,
obsessed
big
with
up.
basketball, but sports in general, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm also very passionate about psychology, of course. I would say that with the years of studying, I got more into it. At first, it's really easy to get to like psychology. I think it's a very broad subject, so you always find something that you're interested in. But with time, I also learned maybe actually how important it can be. Not only as a I'm gonna have my career in something and it's probably a job that I like, but
Yeah.
more into you can use it in personal life. So that was maybe the main interest also from the start.
Okay.
Yeah.
What type of psychology do you like? Is it like sport psychology or?
Yeah, you got the hint actually.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm. My goal is actually to be a sports psychologist.
Nice.
So I am a bit specializing now into the sports field. I do like both cognitive, developmental, and also actually work psychology. So industrial and organizational psychology.
Okay.
But yeah, mainly the sports psychology is my favorite one, if you can say it like that.
Yeah, nice one. And well, obviously I do film and TV.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot of film and TV.
Yeah, I can't say the same for me, unfortunately. But
If
you're
you
gonna help me
were
out, yeah.
right, if you were to watch a film, TV,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
what genre?
I think I would probably go for comedy. I don't know how
Okay,
basic that is.
okay.
But yeah, I just think with my family, I've always watched mainly comedy because my dad is also a fan of more adventure, fantasy, sci-fi, but also something more action. But my mom, though, it's only about comedy and
romance.
Yeah, romance.
all that
so
shit.
I did grow up like that, like
All that
looking at
stuff.
those movies. Yeah, I mean, I also like some action, but I would keep it on. Where do you say like? In Italian we say yellows, but it's the crime.
Oh,
Yeah.
giallo. Yeah, it's like mystery.
Yeah, mystery. Yeah. Especially lately, I think the Knives Out trilogy got me really like. I really like the movies. So yeah. I would
No,
say,
they are quite nice, aren't they?
Yeah.
Daniel Craig's a great actor.
Yeah, that's true. And I have to admit, I saw for the first time him speaking in actually English because before I just watched him in Italian.
Yeah.
And when I saw him in English, he had such a different accent from what I expected. Like I also expected him to speak in an American accent, but it was just like I saw him as a completely different person after I actually heard his voice.
Yeah. No, he's
Crazy.
good. He's good.
Yeah.
James Bond as well.
Yeah, indeed.
Big up.
Yeah, that was the first movie I saw from him.
Yeah, and what about crime? What about violence? Do you enjoy watching it? Is that like something that you would say you like or?
Generally, I would say no.
Okay.
I think the subject really matters. Yeah.
Yeah.
As in, okay, I'm gonna make an example. Animal violence, for example, I really don't like it. I can't watch it. Yeah, it does. Like I don't see the point at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of it, there's not many times that
is
animals actually do get.
I still remember though a
John
movie
Wick.
in which good
That's the whole
reference.
point, isn't it?
Yeah. But I remember a movie. There was I think it was maybe we actually saw it at school. There was a horse being
Oh shit.
mistreated. It was.
I mean, I'm
something with
thinking
fire.
Warhorse. Warhorse was, but that's not the. That's we haven't seen that with the school.
No.
We were at
It
school
was-
together.
Yeah, for reference. But no, it was not a movie about horses, but it was just that in one of the scenes.
There was a horse in it.
Yeah, and it really ate me. So I think also since I have my dog.
Yeah.
No, it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, to
Did you
come
have any
back.
pets before?
Yeah, I had a fish, but I don't think.
Okay,
it
yeah,
counts,
I
like,
don't-
the
I-
emotional
yeah, we don't-
connection
we
is
don't
not
count
there.
that, so.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I did cry for my first fish when it died.
Yeah?
It cried. It died like an hour after I bought it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, mine survived for a bit. I had like 2 or 3, but then yeah, it was pretty sad. I still don't think they committed suicide.
No, you
if
just
I
chuck
am
it in the
completely-
toilet afterwards as well. It's kind of sad.
And maybe my parents. I haven't seen that. No,
No,
don't
I
know
didn't. I didn't do that. My turtle though, when my turtle died.
That's
Anyway, we're going off topic.
yeah. So
So,
to come back, yeah.
The topic of today, if you haven't noticed, is violence and crime in media, and why do people watch it specifically?
Very catchy topic.
It's a nice topic. Because we're doing a module for the university,
Yeah.
and it's crime and violence, and I was like, what type of thing would
Yeah.
I want to generalize it. I don't want to go straight onto a topic. Obviously, I am a big fan of Tarantino,
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino. I don't know if you've seen any of his films.
Yeah, I did. I
But-
did actually. Not many, but like my dad is also a fan. I did see at least a pair. I don't remember much.
He's always in the heat of the
Yeah.
press and the media because of the amount of violence that he puts in his movies.
Oh,
And
it sounds a
stuff.
bit strange to me. There's so much worse, I think.
There is quite a lot worse, but then he does go kind of crazy with it. Yeah, like when Django, in Django. I don't know if you've seen Django. You haven't seen Django. Django.
I won't say it.
I'll just say there's a scene where
Spoiler alert for the people.
he doesn't
like me that
actually
didn't
show
see it.
the violence, but this guy gets eaten by a dog
Ollie.
and is. But yeah, pretty much
Yeah, no, I get it. I
that
get
is
it.
one. And then like I don't know.
But I think maybe also because the
It's
fan base is so
gruesome.
like huge
Yeah,
for him that he gets so much attention, and obviously gonna.
yeah. I think without the violence, it wouldn't be as entertaining as well. Like that's how he puts it.
For what we're going to talk about today, I think that's an interesting insight because if you're saying it, then
Yeah.
it means that it does give you something.
Yeah,
Like,
no, definitely.
Watching it.
Fuck. I mean, let's get into like the juicy questions, which I actually have to look at
Yeah,
the computer
get
for.
to
That's
that.
what I'm doing, by the way. So we talked about
That's why I
the
like I have
go-to
glasses.
genre. Do you think crime and violence in media influences people? I mean, what do you think about crime and violence in media? Do you think it's necessary, and do you think it may influence people to committing crimes? Because I feel like there is that sort of little speculation of like, when you watch media, you want to emulate your heroes.
Yeah.
Tarantino's heroes, for example, they want vengeance, they want blood.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think I'm gonna need a bit of time to answer to this because
Yes.
I think it's a very general question.
Yeah.
And you start from
It
saying,
is very general, sorry.
Yeah. No, but it's because like then we're gonna definitely get into more specific. But
Yeah.
obviously there are some components that you, by watching media violence in medias, you may internalize something. It may lead to some aggressive behaviors.
Yeah.
But the link between actual violence, between actual, for example, offenses, crime, has always been researched a lot, and there's never a large effect size in all
Okay.
this research. And I
good.
don't want to be
That's good
boring
to
with
know.
all this, but yeah, of course. But there's many meta-analysis.
Yeah.
Which would be taking a lot of studies together and statistically revealing if they actually all agree in one direction.
Yeah.
And almost never it was shown that there was actually a direct link between watching violent media in general, but more specifically, I would say film that portrayed violence
Yeah.
to actual crime, to actual criminal behavior. But there is a lot of research that indeed shows that, especially in the short term, there is an effect on aggressive behavior.
Okay.
Because as you said before, you try to imitate, and there is research, for example, from the early 2000s that shows that already from television news, I think it's a bit of, at least for me, well-known topic that every television news is mainly about bad things because it's
Yeah.
more rare to show.
I think
positive
people
things.
they want to know. Don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah,
If there's
exactly.
no like obstacle.
Yeah, it's also a
no-
big topic in psychology. We're more we're more aroused in a way by negative emotions than positive ones.
It's weird.
Yeah, even though we should look for the positive ones. But yeah, so already from television news has been shown that people imitate this aggressive behavior. Especially there's imitative suicide actually.
Is it?
So yeah, from television news, there's also this concept of imitative suicide, and more generally, just aggressive behavior.
What would you say that is? Is it like you following
Yeah, exactly.
exactly someone?
It's like from the information that you get from television, then you actually go through with committing suicide. And of course, it's a bit of a tough topic because, for example, when it comes to suicide, the rates that say the men commit more suicide, it's not mainly, or at least it's not only because of worse mental condition for men, but it's also because of the opportunities that men get.
Okay.
It's a bit weird to hear, but actually, we are as men, it's more easy for us to commit suicide than women.
What would you say?
Biologically,
Like
as in like
just like mentally?
no, actually, physically,
Physically?
we are more inclined. Once it's because obviously we are more, in a way, boys, and all research shows that boys are more aggressive.
Yeah. So there's that violent.
Yeah, and it's also because of
Nature.
societal reasons. So yeah, it's just combat sports is more men, for example.
Yeah.
But also just the ability, the physical ability to being able to. It sounds really weird to say, but you need to be able to do certain things to actually commit suicide. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course you can get a gun,
Yeah.
but there are also other ways, and
Yeah.
those sometimes do require some also physical ability. So it was also shown that the population is mainly men, also because of that.
Okay.
So
So would you say, I don't know if you know this, but is there, do men actually try to commit more suicide than women?
that's a good
Suicides?
question.
Like,
So
do women try, but they don't
no,
actually
there's not
go
a
through
problem
it?
in succeeding,
Yeah.
but there's more a problem in believing
Okay.
that you can do it. Because when you have to actually get to the point that you
Yeah.
do the attempt, and in research about suicide, there's, for example, a division of definitions between actually thinking about doing it and having also the intention component.
Okay.
So it's like 3 steps. You thinking about committing, and
Yeah.
then you thinking and also having the intention component, and then also having the opportunity to do it.
Okay.
Which then also brings a bit of sort of external factors to the actual death of a person from suicide. There could be someone that has like, intrusive thoughts, for example,
Yeah.
and does have the intention of committing, but without the opportunity, maybe that person will not commit.
Yeah. I mean, with intrusive thoughts, it's almost like there is no link with your thought, don't you think? Or sometimes there must be, but
Yeah, I think it depends a
would
bit
you call
on the
that
person
intrusive?
a bit, because, well, you do have to have a bit of conscience to
Yeah, I
know
guess, yeah.
that it's happening. But yeah, I think we would just go on and try to create hypothetical relations between a lot of factors,
Yeah.
and it becomes hard. And it's the same with media violence. People just take something that can lead to something else, and then something else, and something else,
Yeah.
and then gets you to crime behavior, and then find the culprit in media violence. And I think that's a bit of the wrong perception that people have.
Yeah.
I would maybe argue about the link between media violence and aggressive behavior. We can find a lot of information about it in research, as well as with crime. But when it comes to crime and offenses, there's not much actual effect.
Would you say it's more like in it then, like within yourself, rather than you having to look at media to get the ideas?
Okay, I know what you mean. Yeah, so practically, there's a bit of causation problem.
Yeah,
So
I guess family and stuff.
yeah, is it
That's a
because
big
you're
one, so.
already sort of at risk of
Yeah.
committing, and then the media violence makes it worse in a way?
Yeah.
So what's the starting point? Yeah, it could be. It could be, but it's still not shown, because obviously you can manipulate that population. You can take, for example, kids that are more aggressive, that have
Yeah.
shown more aggressive behavior, and kids that haven't, and then make them see media violence, because of course we don't have enough information to say that it's sort of safe. So
Yeah.
it's a bit unethical. But it is shown that obviously, like, for example, one research shows that even if kids had aggressive behavior, like as child aggressive behaviors, that does not mean that watching media violence made them commit crime.
Okay.
So it is not a given.
Yeah. Would you say it's a catalyst? Like,
It could be, but and for this, there's, for example, research looked into reoffenses. So they took already offenders. They sort of looked into if they actually had access to media violence,
Okay.
and then it's sort of a longitudinal study in which they actually then saw if there was a reoffending afterwards, and it did act as a catalyst, the media violence, because the people that did commit an offense and then also were exposed in a way afterwards to media violence, they did significantly commit a reoffense. So
yeah. So how can you prevent that? That's the thing,
yeah,
isn't it? It's
and
like,
it is a really hard question, and we're not supposed to answer, of course.
No,
But
I
I
mean-
would say that some research does go into environmental factors because they may play a bigger role
like within
than within the environment of the person that
Of
is
the-
at risk, but also the person that is not at risk, the person that does not show aggressive behavior. That doesn't mean that that person is not going to sort of develop it afterwards or actually commit crime
Yeah.
anyways. And then
Do you think
can-
anyone could do it? Like anyone could do it, but would they?
yeah. I think
Like,
that everyone
could they
could
develop?
do it. Yeah,
Would-
but then
Because I think
Yeah.
you're a pretty relaxed, like
I don't have
criminal.
offenses.
Yeah,
I don't have
yeah.
offenses.
Allegedly. Would you say that you could possibly, in the future, fall
Commit,
into committing those things if your environment were to change?
I would give a very subjective
Yeah.
answer here because I don't think I have the exact knowledge to say it,
No.
and I'm also going to take into account we're talking about me.
Yeah.
But I would say maybe within some limits.
Hmm.
Yeah, like in a way, I don't think I would commit big crimes.
Yeah.
But an offense can be literally anything. It could be stealing, for
Yeah.
example. And it's really hard to just say no. I will never do it
Yeah.
because you never know in which situation you're gonna be
That's true.
faced. Obviously, I would say most likely no.
Yeah. If it were in your power of will, you wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would avoid that.
Yeah. But then it really depends, isn't it? Because
Yeah, that's just an answer of confidence,
Yeah.
of big confidence. If I decide to say, yeah, of course, no, I will never. And then it just looks like I'm making a promise to you.
do you think studying psychology helps with that? Because you sort of can understand yourself?
In a way, and not to like sell psychology to anyone,
Yeah.
but it's always shown that having conscience of what's happening does help.
Helps. Yeah.
It's a sort of the same effect of education.
Yeah.
When you're educated about a certain topic, then you learn about it and you're more conscious. Maybe there's more self-reflection happening. So I do think that it helps, but as well as education, as a matter of being an intervention with people.
Yeah.
So does it actually help solve the problem? No.
No.
So I
makes
think
you
it does
aware.
help. Yeah, it's just that the effect that it has, it's really, really small.
Yeah.
So like it does help. How much does it help though? Debatable, you know.
Yeah.
If there are definitely bigger factors, and in here, like you could say that maybe media violence does have a very, very small effect into crime
Yeah.
behavior or violence in general because it does increase aggressive behavior. That's been shown in the short term. In the long term, there's not much evidence, but in the short term, especially on child and preteen adolescents, even more when they're at risk, it does increase aggressive behavior, which then may lead to other. I think the most sort of dangerous thing is a sort of downward spiraling. Because as soon as you maybe are exposed to media violence, especially as a kid, you may try and imitate this behavior, aggressive behavior.
Yeah.
And now it's a bit of an hypothetical discussion, but let's imagine that we take a child is exposed to media violence. Let's not even say that it's a child that already has aggressive behavior, or for example, a type A character, which it's more like aggressive, higher heart rate, more extroverted. But
So
let's
there's
just
different
say,
types of them.
yeah, there's different types of people, of behavior patterns,
Yeah.
personality.
They have like a character profile.
Yeah,
so-
and it's this sort of character profile, which you can see maybe in movies as well.
Yeah,
There are people
definitely.
that are type A behavior. The most recognized example of a type A behavior person is someone that would get mad while driving. to other
Okay.
drivers.
Yeah.
And the opposite is the type B, which will probably just not
Yeah.
do
Try
anything
to
about it. Yeah,
not
just like
get
avoid.
involved. Yeah.
Not get involved, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's not say that this child that is exposed to media violence as a type A. So we take it as someone that is actually not at risk
Okay.
of this aggressive behavior. Nevertheless, by being exposed to media violence, it will maybe increase through imitation, especially at a young age.
I feel like not only the imitation, but it also like brings up awareness. Like I was talking to my girlfriend and my sister, and I asked them the question, you know,
Yeah.
why do you think people enjoy watching? And they said that they find comfort in that situation. They find it's a weird sort of comfort. Like instead of them being scared, they're like, oh, I'm aware of it now. And I dissociate from my life and I look at someone else and I'm like, oh, lucky it's not me, sort of thing. So it's
okay,
sort of a weird sort of comfort. But
Yeah, I know. I think that's a good point.
is that
but
a gender thing as well?
Yeah, I mean, because you asked two women actually, it could be.
Yeah.
I can't say it though.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
For respect to science, I mean, yeah, you can sort of infer
yeah,
that it could
I guess,
be.
yeah, because you go and see,
But
crime.
Yeah, but for environment, maybe there could be also a man that could feel the same way.
Yeah.
Maybe there would be there's a obviously
Yeah, I
higher
mean,
chance that
yeah.
maybe women see the violence in that way as well.
Yeah.
But I think that there's it's a sort of the good side, sort of the full glass, because
Yeah.
that awareness that you have also made, and I'm not citing research here, but I'm going off script, desensitize you from
Yeah.
that. So, okay, I know that that's happening. I know that someone else is happening, but I also know that it could happen to me, and it's all right because it's
Yeah.
a normal thing. I see it on TV.
Oh, so
Right.
you think that
Yeah, so
people that are maybe not self-exploited, they are exploited by other people, whether it's assault or whatever. By watching other people get that as well in media, they almost feel okay with it, like that's normal.
that would be really the extreme.
Yeah, we are talking
But I
about a
do
lot of
yeah,
different
but that's why
concepts.
it's an interesting topic, right?
It
Because
is, yeah.
it does bring a lot of conversation.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, but it's obviously if you always have this television news talking about war, for example.
Yeah.
And then you go and watch action movies or the Tarantino's movies, and obviously because it's really good movies.
Yeah.
But having all this, I said it. But having all this sort of information into you of, okay, this is what violence is, it does happen, this is how it happens. And it also gives a bit of, is that actually what violence is in real life? Not at all times, I think, the way it's portrayed.
Yeah.
But you get...
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Sometimes
it's a
it
bit,
is really,
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because we were looking at Psychopaths. One of the week was Psychopaths, and how they're portrayed in film, like especially with superhero movies, like the Joker. It's a crazy psychopath, which isn't actually how psychopaths are.
Yeah, as a psychologist, I do relate to that, but it is really interesting to see it.
That's another
And
topic as well.
and you do see a lot of things that are true as well.
Yeah.
But there's also things that are not.
Yeah.
But to go back, even if you're just used to see these things,
Yeah.
it's gonna make you react differently when you actually see them or do them.
Yeah.
Because it's a normalization of them in a way, even if it's small.
No, definitely.
So I think if we would be on the side of media violence as not being bad for people that watch it, and we're not saying that it is bad, because until now we said that there's no real link between crime, and there's a bit of link between aggression, but there's also other things.
Yeah.
Like if you are doing sports combat, there's also a link between aggression, right? But that doesn't mean that
That's
doing
true.
box or MMA, it's that thing. Right?
That is very true.
But we could defend media violence by saying there's also some positive things, as in the comfort that you said, but maybe also seeing when you see a situation how it plays out, and then when you find yourself in one, you're more ready, maybe a bit more cold-blooded in a way. So we could find some positive as well. But being very objective, the main finding on my media violence effect, especially on young people, is that it is a public health risk.
Yeah.
Because there's, for example, a meta-analysis or maybe a comprehensive review, I'm not sure, from almost 2000, between 2007 and 2009, that says that there's actually public health risk because of media violence. And they also found a significant effect. So
Yeah,
that
I
means
can
that it
see.
has
I
a
can see
negative
why.
effect,
I can
right?
see why.
Yeah, when we're not saying eliminate it, but being already aware of the fact that it does have an effect, and this effect is not positive on public health, maybe just confine it a bit, especially because we say, okay, it's especially on boys and it's especially on child, adolescents, but also people at risk for aggressive behavior.
Yeah, I mean, when looking at Tarantino's movies, right, a lot of the themes, well, the main theme, recurring theme, always, I don't know what happened to him when he was younger, but it's always revenge, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it almost feels like ethical violence, like with, I say Django again, I bring it up, right? This guy is a slave in the Western world, and there's all this sort of killing the slave owners and all that sort of thing.
Which does feel justified, am I right?
It feels justified, right? And you root for him, even if he's committing mad crimes.
Yeah. No, I mean,
murder, multiple murders. Would you condone ethical violence?
good question. Some small side note. I'm a big fan of The Punisher, which is not on the level of Django, obviously, but I did have those feelings of okay, he's killing so many people, but he's doing it for the good reasons, and going through a different route, which would not be violent, would probably be worse. And so then you realize, okay, so is that the best choice? And if it is, why don't we all do it?
It's a bit like Dexter. I don't know if you've seen Dexter.
Yeah, no, but I've heard.
You've heard of it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, it sounds like it is correct. It is ethical, right?
Yeah.
That's why it is a thing called ethical violence. It is different, and I think there's even more to talk about on this than what we said about violence in general.
But people have the knack to, like, the itch.
Yeah,
for revenge, for
yes, there is reason also physiologically. People do get a release of dopamine when they get revenge. Yeah. We're not talking about only violence.
At the end of the day, we are animals. If you have to.
So the first thing is that it's for us. It's good to do what for us feels good. Yeah. So to sort of bring justice, and in a way we know that there's not always justice in our lives. So sometimes we do feel like someone, as also ourselves, if they do something that is not justice, but it brings justice, then it's justified, because what you're looking for is this balance, sort of, right? Yeah. It's like the punishment to someone. It's because the punishment, as always for people, instinctively, the punishment has to be as bad as what the person did, right? So the punishment has to balance.
I guess it's a bit like the death penalty.
Yeah, and maybe the first reason, like the reasoning that brought the death penalty, could be also that, I think, and then there was a lot more.
It makes sense. It makes sense, but also it's, I don't know.
And we're again talking about this downward spiraling of like, okay, are you gonna keep doing it then if you actually realize that it's good? Because there's a lot of bad happening around the world.
I mean, if you see Shawshank Redemption.
No, I haven't.
The guy is committed.
I'm not looking good here.
Well, he doesn't commit any sort of crime or anything, but he wrongfully gets imprisoned, and then he gets the death penalty, meaning that he gets killed without committing the crime.
Yeah, which is sort of the opposite of.
It's the opposite problem. I guess it's like revenge, but backwards. Cause
then would you decide to help him if you had a chance? Yeah, because you will feel it's ethically what you should do. Yeah. But then you would go against what's legal at the moment, what's recognized as justice.
That sort of kicks off. Yeah, but I guess that was the actual fault of the justice system in that
Yeah,
case.
exactly. I
rather
mean,
than-
mistakes can happen. That's the thing, and
Yeah.
who are we to
Shouldn't.
be the
They
one?
shouldn't,
Yeah,
but-
they shouldn't. But that's a sort of
That's his life.
utopistic view of like
Yeah, that's true.
perfect world. And
That's
it's not only about the dopamine release and all the balance, but as individuals, we also see ourselves as okay. Actually, I see that someone did something that for me is wrong,
Yeah.
and I feel the need actually instinctively to make it right.
Hmm.
And we're not only talking about violence, because here the topic is violence. So obviously when you make violence to sort of bring back that balance we talked about before, it seems very bad.
Yeah.
But what if there's actually, I don't know, a more simple thing. It's not about violence, but it's about someone parking in the wrong spot or something like that.
Yeah.
So then you condone violence, but you don't condone that because that's like sort of a fair revenge.
Yeah. I guess there's levels to the
Yeah.
how is it? It's levels to the crime, but it's not really a crime because
Yeah, we do see it differently. We do see it differently. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah.
So but it's not a one size fits all. So I mean, we can say it's one way or the other. So it's either no revenge or yeah, you can revenge if it's fine, because who determines what's justice?
Yeah.
But what we can say is that objectively, we as humans want to look for this justice, want to look for this balance, and this creates the revenge. And probably the fact that in our society, it is impossible for us to do this revenge makes us look into the media for that. And it does, we could hypothetically enjoy this as is. The balance that we couldn't restore was restored by us seeing someone else restoring it in a different situation.
You know, with historical movies, like World War II movies, people always say, "Oh, I enjoy this movie because it has some historical accuracies, and I want to see how the world is back then," right? But there must be some sort of actual interest in the story or the violence, the violent aspect of war as well. Within that,
Is that a question, or you actually believe?
it's a bit of a both, I guess.
Because I am not sure if, because the reason for the interest that you said before is fine.
Yeah.
Like I am interested in seeing what it was back then.
But
even though
do you believe
you
someone,
don't know if it is actually,
when they say that? Like, I don't know.
but would they see it because of the violence that's depicted?
Maybe not the violence, but the story. And the story seems to always fall into some sort of revenge arc, if you think about it. Whether it's minor or whether it's even flipping, Americans saving Jewish people from concentration camps.
I do think that it goes back to like that balance. Like
Yeah.
we know that there was a thing that brought on balance, which could be in
Have you
World War
seen
II.
Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, let's go.
I did that. But I was very young.
That's Jewish people killing Nazis. That's the story.
Yeah, and
it's revenge.
And I think so like now you have already a plot that's revengeful, and the people do like
almost great. I really enjoy that sort of aspect of it. But I don't know.
Then I have a personal thought about this, is that it's also about how the movie is made.
Yeah.
And research talks a lot about media content, because it's not about, okay, I see any media violence is going to have an effect on me. Just because we found a link that says that media violence brings aggressive behavior, increases aggressive behavior.
That violence is a bit crazy, though.
What violence leads to that, right? It's media content and also more.
Yeah.
But in that case, I see it positively, as in we're talking about revenge, and the movie depicts it so well that you can feel the needs of the character. You can feel why they're doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's brings
important.
you
That's character
on board,
profiling.
right? Yeah. So like you see, okay, they have a reason. Okay, they are bringing that balance. And in addition, it's that actually you know that in real life, that balance should have been brought.
Question.
Right?
Do you think it's necessary to, in Inglourious Basterds, for example, they, as a trophy of their revenge, they take off the scalps of each Nazi that they kill?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a bit excessive?
Yeah, it's a good question, because literally you're just making people see that revenge goes to that point.
Yeah.
And the actual balance was already reached, right? If you do a
Yeah,
big
exactly.
analysis of it,
Yeah,
because it's kill for kill.
they've killed all the
Yeah.
Jewish people, and you've killed
Yeah, and
them.
that actually like
So-
mirrors the fact that when you actually get revenge, and that's the problem with ethical violence.
Yeah.
It is ethical, it is justifiable in a way, whatever you want to say, but then it's not gonna satisfy you in the long term, and that's the
Yeah.
problem. So what you do is you get a bit high, like on the expectation. So okay, they're not only gonna get revenge on the Nazis, but they're
Yeah.
gonna do more because you want more satisfaction to build up, and
Yeah.
that's maybe in a sort of a hope that's gonna last more. But in the end, it's not gonna be your closure. Like it's not gonna bring closure, and I see why a movie producer would do that, because
They do have to exaggerate
yeah,
it as well.
but you're also not. The goal is not to make people feel the balance or to make people feel that revenge being relatable to them, but it's also about evoking emotions.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to push the buttons.
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying it's correct. Like it's right
No.
because the effect can be negative.
Yeah.
But we said before the negative emotions are mostly
They're stronger.
yeah,
They're
a bit,
stronger.
yeah. And that means that you're gonna feel stronger emotion for the movie. That's good for the movie, right?
Yeah. Even if it's grim.
Yeah, and
like, oh my
you're gonna
God.
lose some people from because of
You
that as
do.
well.
You do. Yeah.
So-
I feel like my mother watched that. She wouldn't.
Yeah, my mother either. But the thing is, okay, so if you want to actually be critical, then you say, if you get to that sort of violence that's sort of unnecessary, unless for the utility of the movie, then you're actually taking away the people that are not at risk of the violence, and the people that are going to watch the movie are most likely being people at risk.
Yeah.
Because they're already desensitized to it, and that's why it's not grim to them, right?
Yeah.
So
Or it is, but then
But they
they're
don't
not.
care. Yeah,
They got
yeah.
to a point where they watch so many of them that you're like, oh,
yeah,
crap,
exactly.
I
Yeah.
don't care anymore. Because
And-
technically, I mean, it is. At the end of the day, it is acting.
Yeah,
It
but the
is
thing
props.
is,
It is
yeah, but what are you
VFX.
trying to protect? Yeah, like if you 1 million people will watch it, and even if 10,000 people will be at risk for aggressive behavior, it doesn't mean that then 5,000 people are going to commit crime.
Yeah.
But if two do for a movie,
It's a bit. It's
a
already
big,
like.
it's still big.
Yeah, it's a
And
big deal.
yeah, so maybe not. It's not purposefully done, but the fact that it is a bit unnecessary makes it a bit of fault, I think.
Yeah.
So to go back to your question, I don't think it was.
But then you could say the same about mixed martial arts.
Yeah, and
Boxing.
I personally would,
Yeah.
as I'm not a big fan of that as well. But let's go a bit into an hypothetical world in which I say, okay, the people that watch the specific movie
Yeah.
are just the people that are already that were not exposed to violent behavior as kids, for example, that are not at risk for aggressive behavior now, maybe have type B personality, and they are gonna just think, okay, this movie is great, right? Like very well done,
Yeah.
good plot. Even though all of this I'm watching, I know that it's wrong, but the fact that I don't feel that it's wrong,
Yeah.
that's a big thing for the movie, because it's not that easy to make people feel that type of way.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you can just say, okay, then it's fine because they produce a really big piece of art and it did not have a negative
Any effects? Yeah.
Yeah.
Any effects that.
So
It's the negative.
I would say that if we want to be very optimistic on that's something that we could do, would be to prepare the people to those kind of things. And by reading also research about media violence, I already would say, and maybe it's very basic, like a very popular opinion, but okay, until a certain age, kids shouldn't be exposed to certain things, right?
Yeah.
And with the media, we go into it becomes
Obviously,
more
they're
difficult.
developing, right?
Yeah. Everything becomes earlier for kids and everything
Yeah.
becomes more accessible and more difficult to control, especially.
I guess GTA is a big
Yeah,
one.
exactly. It's,
GTA is
and it was
a big
already
one.
long ago.
It's fun.
Yeah. So
It's definitely fun.
I haven't played. I played once or twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like if you want to create an environment in which watching those type of media violence
Yeah. But why is it fun?
does not give the effect.
Why is it fun?
Well, we did talk that in the revenge case, it's fun because you actually feel
like-
that it's justifying, but it's freeing you in a way. Of
Yeah.
Like the things that you can do,
Yeah.
you can do. And
I guess, would you say, I mean, for me, a lot of the time, it also comes down to you could potentially take yourself out of your world. Like when I watch a movie, a lot of the time it's because I want to go into that world. You know,
Yeah, sort
I
of
want
relate
to.
to the character, you mean?
I want to be in that world.
Mm.
When I watch it, I'm like in that world, and not necessarily that character, but
Okay, so part of it in a way.
the setting, the everything
Mhm.
is for me looking at that,
Yeah.
and being
Yeah.
almost unexposed to my life for a little bit, for like 2 hours, not me,
I can see that.
just the film, right?
Yeah.
And then there's some people that maybe think I want to watch this, as my sister says,
Mhm.
because I want to know the risk. I want to be sensitized to understand it, right? But those are all hypothetical answers, personal, and well, I think a lot of people feel the same, but in different ways, and there's different answers. So I don't know where I'm going with that, to be fair.
Yeah,
but
no, but
it's just going somewhere.
I know what you mean. But what we say to ourselves is also important.
Yeah,
So if there are some people that do feel honestly by
compelled.
themselves, yeah, but also like in that feeling of comfort or that feeling of balance.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's comfort, but maybe it is.
But if
Maybe it is.
we're not here to judge if that is true or no.
Yeah,
But just the fact that they are, at least they think that they're feeling that type of way, it does bring it a bit to, like, it does become real in a
Yeah.
way. So
I watched a movie yesterday. It's
Yeah.
called A History of Violence, and it's this guy that tries to be like this perfect person that doesn't use violence or anything,
Mhm.
and then there's like mafia people come into his bar, and they try to kill a lady. So out of ethical violence,
yeah,
he becomes a hero by killing them. But then you find out that in reality, he was a mafia person and he has this whole world that he's not told his family and stuff. And that is kind of really hits the nail on the dot,
oh
doesn't
yeah, I
it?
get it. So like you think that is a good person, which shows you that you could always do that with
Yeah,
any movie or any
it
type of
definitely
violence.
evokes all the emotions
Yeah,
that you would want to evoke with this question as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Like when you
I can
make
see
a
what you
film
mean.
and you think, oh yeah, why do they enjoy it? They enjoy it because it evokes the
Yeah, but
emotions.
I think we could trace it back and talk about a bit of like the Freudian psychology,
Yeah.
saying that there is an instinct in people. It's gonna rain. So we were animals. We are animals. So we
Yeah,
do have some
yeah, it goes back
instinct
to.
that sort of.
Could you get traumatized by a film?
I think I think that you can.
I think.
I think you can.
Yeah,
I don't want to say things that are not true, but I do think you can.
it sounds like something feasible, doesn't it? But that's a bit
I've
crazy.
taken part in an experiment in my first year in which you would have had an ECG on your head, and then at the same time you would have to EEG, sorry. At the same time you would
Which
have
is
to watch
for the viewers.
electro and encephalogram.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so you have these sort of electrodes on your head that are aimed at registering the electricity in your brain to see which area of your brain are working
Okay.
when
That's
you
cool.
perceive some sort of emotions.
Yeah.
In this case, was many, but also fear, for example. So the experiment would start with you having this EEG, and while the brain was recorded, you would watch a movie of violence. So,
Wow.
but it was very like, it was actually a scene of a man raping a woman.
Yeah. Was it a movie though? It wasn't real.
Yeah, it was like it was a sort of short movie.
Okay.
So all real with
Yeah.
actors.
I think I remember you
and
telling me
everything.
this.
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah, exactly. And so they have a procedure, of course, that you have to know. Okay, are you ready for this? And
Yeah.
so in the screening procedure, they do ask you like what your past experiences are, because they need to know if this can actually have a negative effect on you. And I'm not saying like, oh, you don't like it. It's actually like a negative psychological effect.
Yeah, I feel
And
like
afterwards-
it would definitely,
Yeah, right.
wouldn't it?
And
Yeah.
afterwards, they also provide for you like services of
Yeah.
psychologists and stuff in case you do have problems with it.
Yeah.
So I do feel like there is you can get sort of scarred by watching a movie.
No, definitely.
And
Yeah.
I did watch it. I mean, they build up this amazing fear of like, what am I going to watch now? Because they did all this, and it's really thing that can be traumatizing. So it's going to be really bad. So for me, it was less than expected.
Okay, because you had built it up,
Yeah,
like,
I
to
had
be
built it up
something,
in like,
something
okay,
big.
I had big, very bad
What did it show,
expectations.
the EEG, for you?
I was not like I did not know the results.
Oh,
to
you
be
didn't
honest.
know?
I did not check. Like
Oh, you should
they
have
told
checked.
us that they're going to publish a study, and then you have to actively ask
Oh,
if
okay.
you're on your own.
Yeah. You
But
didn't?
no, I didn't.
That's all right.
But it was also to like, because the experiment did not only consist of the video watching, but then they would do, so you would be actually on a tapis roulant, the running mat.
Yeah.
So on a running mat in a room which you would have around you all screens, big screens, and they would replay scenes. So you would get actually quite. I don't remember it correctly now, so I'm fumbling.
Would
a
it get
bit.
your heart beating faster and stuff like that as well?
You would get your pressure, your blood pressure checked beforehand.
Okay.
Then you would get a questionnaire in which they
Check
would
it
ask
again.
you which scenes were worse for you.
Okay.
And then they would re-expose you to the same scenes while making you do some tasks.
Yeah.
Like memory tasks, for example.
That's experiment right there.
So the experiment, yeah, but the experiment they did
Oh, it is
pay
an
you as
experiment,
well. Yeah, the experiment did not like the goal of the experiment was not to see if you feel some type of fear or how much it is,
Yeah.
but they wanted actually to see if the fear impacted your cognition. So they wanted to see if you're in a fearful state.
Okay.
Is your brain going to work slower, for example?
Yeah.
Are you going to have less attention? Because that could then lead to say, okay, if people are going to be found in a bad situation, they're going to act worse than normal. So they're going to be less attentive. They're going to be, their reflexes may be slower and all those type of things. Now, I don't remember specifically the aim.
Yeah.
But so that was the goal. And they did expose then you afterwards to other scenes. So like the ones that you said they are worse, and asked you on a scale of 1 to 10 how bad it was and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they also interview afterwards to see like, okay, is everything all right? Do you want to proceed with the experiment? So it does show that there is like this actually movie can have a big effect on the way you feel, on the way you act. So this should be taken into account, even if film producers should take that into account.
Yeah, I guess.
And I think maybe sometimes they move a bit of saying, okay, it's not going to be the.
But I think the
effect,
the effect that it has is what drives the movie producer to make it.
Yeah, but
the
then
movie director.
Are you going to blame them for doing it? That's the point. Like, because then they are the one choosing that the population is seeing that.
Maybe it's like it's one of those things. Tarantino calls violence entertainment. You know, it's like for him, that's just part of the game. I don't think he sees the effects, the nasty effects.
Yeah, the worryness could be just okay. So if I watch personally a violent movie, not saying that I don't like it or like dislike it.
I think it depends on the.
Yeah, but would I say that it's affecting me and I'm going to be more aggressive?
No.
But would I be more aggressive then? You don't know that, right? And like,
yeah.
So maybe you don't feel that the movie is affecting you, which means, maybe I'm seeing, okay, this movie is amazing. It's really good portrayal of the violence in real life. Then I actually go and commit more violence.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it's because of the movie. I think nothing changed from before.
Yeah.
So like
that's a tricky one.
Yeah, like the movie can be blamed, but
to an extent.
Actually, yeah, and of course it's not only about movies, because now we're talking about movies, but there's so much more media violence that's not chosen, because a movie it's mainly chosen. I'm gonna choose to watch that movie, and there are some like things that prevent people from watching it. If it's not,
but I
like the
also
18
think
plus, the 16 plus, the okay, this movie has sexual violence, drugs.
Well, I'm a little bit. Well, I've talked to therapists and stuff, and I think I have OCD. That is the main thing. And there's some things that trigger my intrusive thoughts and my sort of fear when it comes to movies. I try to stay away from those things, but then there's other things.
From the movies? They would come actually from the movies?
Yeah, I think so. That then, you would think, oh, what if I did that? You wouldn't act on it, but it would be a question that would be arised. I mean, I think the OCD, when you come with OCD, you always ask the what ifs, right?
Yeah, but of course, but like you do have to sort of get the link between.
But it overwhelms you.
Compulsions.
The thing is, it overwhelms you. You know you're not going to do it, but it scares you. And
Like
there's
that's what triggers you
other-
into doing it, you mean?
No, in my case, I wouldn't do it, but
Okay.
I just stay away from it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like fear of heights.
Yeah, but
I'm
I
not
think
fear of
it's a
heights, I
line
don't
of
go
thought
near
in
heights.
which you
But-
do think that, but you
Yeah,
don't know
but
if
there's
it's true.
other sort of violent stuff that don't trigger me, and that's the weird thing. So that I watch, like Tarantino, it doesn't trigger me. It actually maybe gives you a certain confidence. Weirdly,
But do you think that's because of the scenery, of the environment, of the
Maybe.
motives?
maybe it's also the way it's filmed, the music,
I think the way how realistic
lighting.
how realistic the movie is could be also good
Maybe.
predictor.
Yeah, I do
if
like
you feel it-
true crime, for example.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Like-
That is
For example, if you see my dad, for example, just sees a lot of like true crime, and
Yeah.
when you do see that, it also gets on me. When I
Yeah.
was younger, I still remember some of the cases that my dad watched, and like they were very real. And
Yeah.
just the fact that the like words on the screen of
And you could hear
it's
it
a
as
real
well.
story.
If you hear it from the background, you're like, all right, I'm out of this room.
And the seeing, and seeing like, okay, this is a real person talking about that.
Yeah,
Besides the movie, that what you talked about before is being like, it's going in this
that's
different
true.
world,
Yeah,
right?
it's a whole different.
Yeah, well, then
Maybe
you know
you
you're watching
dissociate from
yeah.
yourself
So
as well when you watch it,
So yeah, there's a big difference, and
and then you take the actual art
yeah,
rather than.
I don't know if there's studies on them
the story.
on that, but I think if you watch true crime, you actually know that it's true.
That's the thing, isn't
And
it? Yeah.
with, for example, I would like hypothesize that if I'm watching true crime about revenge, about those ethical violence, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna feel as good as I feel in the movie
Yeah.
because I know that the movie is fake. I know that I can anger the movie to justify myself, but I know that what I'm seeing in real life, if I'm not getting that revenge because I know it's not a sort of ethical thing to do,
Yeah.
why would that person that I know that lives in the same world as me do that, right? So you do judge it in a different way.
That's true. Yeah.
But
Because it
again,
is the same world. That is very true.
yeah, but like again, it's also okay, we are two people talking about it that maybe have a same perspective of what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Maybe there's someone that would say, I'm scared of the Tarantino's movies, but I'm not scared of the real.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's unlikely, or they're scared of both. So yeah, it's sort of
Yeah.
maybe also a bit of our
No,
perspective.
I definitely know
Yes.
people that are scared of both. That
Yeah, me too.
are scared
The
of the
opposite is very
Tarantino
different.
movies. I
I
mean,
think-
some bits are grim. That's the thing.
Yeah, but the thing
With true
is,
crime,
the
they don't
reasons
show.
why you're scared.
Well, they do actually. They show some stuff.
So like if, for example, you get a true crime in which there's not actually like bad violence, but it's just someone killed someone and you know the motives.
I feel
And
like
in Tarantino, there's
psychological
such
violence
much more
is
violence.
more effective for me. Like it affects me more. It affects me, not affects me. Affects me more than physical violence.
Yeah, but I believe you're talking about
When I'm watching it, obviously.
two different consequences because
Maybe I'm used to.
yeah, but what
'cause
you
I watch boxing. I like boxing and mixed martial arts. I like.
yeah, but
that.
what you define as affects you is you have a negative effect from
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah, which
So-
means intrusive thoughts
Yeah.
or anxiety.
But what we talked about now is being affected as in you imitate and it leads you to more aggressive behavior.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that.
So
I
that's
wouldn't
a
say
different
that,
thing.
no.
But the negative effect, then I think that the media violence maybe, as media in general does have a negative effect on people.
Yeah.
Not, okay, increasing
Negative
aggressive
and
behavior,
positive.
but negative emotion, yeah, maybe also some positive, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, you interviewed your sister and your girlfriend, so that is positive apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't interview them. I just asked.
Yeah, but yeah,
Maybe I
like the
should
negative
interview
emotions. Yeah,
Rock
actually.
Pops.
But the negative emotions can maybe be like all the time just
Yeah.
because of that. Because you don't get negative emotions only. You get negative emotion in a sad movie as well, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you have a bad relationship experiences, you see a sad movie and you're like, okay, it's gonna happen to me too.
Yeah.
And so like, okay, negative emotions are not as, okay, just allow this, but they're not as bad as aggressive behavior as a concern or as like
Okay.
public health risk as a concern.
Yeah. So you
And-
say negative as in sad.
Yeah, as in
Dark.
anxiousness, for example, you said.
Anxious,
It
yeah.
does have an effect on you
Okay.
as a person,
So psychological violence.
Yeah,
sort
but
of thing.
because exactly, because what we could argue is that you chose to watch the movie and you had the negative effect.
Yeah.
Right. So it stops in this.
And this is
circle.
not quoted. This is from you.
Yeah, exactly. So if we're talking about, I chose to watch the movie and then it increased my aggressive behavior, and then I chose for social comparisons theory. You choose also people that are more alike. So I chose people that are also more aggressive, that also watch media violence, and then in the end, I did actually commit crime or commit violence on someone. I went out of my circle, out of my freedom, and that's a bigger risk, I think.
Yeah.
Then, of course, if you examine, for example, being exposed to television news all the time, if that actually increases your aggressiveness and it's not your choice to watch them,
That's a bit of a.
it's a different conversation again.
I mean,
but
television news as well can cause anxiety quite easily.
you do see some violence, I think, as well, but it's a lot more controlled.
Yeah.
But in the war period, for example, I mean, there's a lot of war going on still, but at the start you would see a lot more. Now they contained it. Pity, I think. But no, because we have to be aware, I think, and we just forget it and put it on the side.
Yeah.
But before you would actually see like the war sites at least, and some also wars images as well. Maybe not on the big televisions news, but in general, you could have access to that. And if I have a phone, and a 15-year-old, a 10-year-old can have a phone, I do have access to that.
I think that's another big problem, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
That one we won't talk about for a while, but
exactly.
not today at least. But I guess the outtakes of this question and this interview, what would you say are the main reasons people enjoy watching violence and crime in media? If you had to summarize in, I don't know, a couple of sentences, a couple of words, what would you say?
So I would say for the revenge that we said before,
Yep.
we have to bring up the topics of balance, of trying to bring back the balance, trying to look for that justice that maybe you were unable to get in your own life.
Real world.
Yeah, exactly. And then biologically, the release of dopamine, for example.
Yeah.
More generally, I think it does maybe there are some sort of disbeliefs about, for example, being aware, being helpful for yourself.
Yeah.
So some people could start watching some like violent media violence because they think that it brings them awareness as well. And the fact that it's also sort of seen as entertainment.
Yeah.
So we don't see it as it's going to have a bad effect on me, but it's like I'm seeing something that's entertaining for me. And we bring back the topic of instinct, of being also humans are also animals.
Yeah.
So instinctively, we don't have the negative effect of I'm going to commit more crime because we don't see in the movie the thing to blame for the consequence. So definitely that those like misperceptions can lead you to watch and not being aware of the consequence. And maybe the control as well, because I think a lot of times when you don't have awareness of what's going to happen, because maybe it's a long-term effect, or maybe because the more aggressive behavior in the short term does not worry you, you do not control the environment.
Yeah.
And you start this downward cycle. So for kids especially, if the environment is not controlled, because the adult as kid, they were exposed to violence and they did not have any negative effect, like not too much aggressive behavior, maybe just a bit, but it can be normal for personality.
Yeah.
Then they do not mind too much if also their kids are going to watch it.
Yeah.
And especially now with development of media, then
That's
you
a
don't
problem.
realize that they're actually watching more than you were in the past. And then those kids are also desensitized to it differently too. So I think, it's small reasons, but it's all about there has to be some limits, some constraints. And if you start from a point, you always have to take into account and be aware of the risk of that path.
I think some people overdo it though with the age guidance. So like sometimes some films should be rated lower.
Yeah, and I agree. Also the wordings are wrong a lot of times.
I don't know, like Harry Potter, the first one.
Yeah, they do have some movies have Big Bang Theory. I think it had a sexual.
Did it?
Yeah, sexual and drugs.
See, that's a bit too much.
Yeah, drug use. But
Because then Big Bang Theory is actually kind of intellectual in a way as
yeah,
well. Like it would help a little bit
yeah,
with certain things. I mean,
definitely.
sometimes it's a bit geeky, but that's part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Want to be a
it's
bit geeky
yeah,
sometimes.
it's a sitcom, so.
Yeah,
But yeah, so like I think, well, I would like to like highlight the fact that we're not saying the media violence it's bad.
no, I mean, absolutely not.
We're just saying that,
I
as you
enjoy.
said,
I love
yeah,
watching
I
media
don't. So
violence
you see, it's a
personally.
50-50. But we are saying that it does have risks, it
It
does
does,
have
yeah.
effects, and the minimum is the awareness you talked about before.
Yeah,
But I think it's really the bare minimum,
yeah,
because it's like if there is a small risk in media violence, then there is a small gain into the awareness.
yeah,
So we try to balance that a bit.
yeah. I mean, as
Um,
a film and TV student, I have to sort of sometimes you have to watch some films.
Yeah.
You feel the need to watch some films
Yeah, but
because you need to
that brings
understand
awareness to
them.
you as well.
But then maybe I'm watching it in a different way. Like maybe I'm watching it for the lighting rather than for the actual story.
I get it. I mean,
And I guess that sort of
more a
takes away.
technical
Yeah. And if you want to show
perspective.
violence, but you don't want to show violence, like a lot of the times you can't show violence because maybe it's too much.
Yeah, but
That's where
like
the line is. Maybe it's too much.
also for
Censorship.
film producers knowing
Yeah.
that there is a problem in this media violence effect.
Yeah.
There's also a thing called media violence effect actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was until the 60s there was like a full-on censorship thing
yeah,
where it was really difficult even to show
but that's also
sexual stuff.
It's actually since the 1960s that research about the effect of media
yeah,
violence started.
that makes sense,
So,
doesn't
right?
it? It's connected, definitely connected.
And I think that if people that produce movies would actually be aware of it, also just making the movie maybe make a bit more clear and direct.
You couldn't even show alcohol in the like the 30s.
Yeah,
You couldn't even show
yeah.
alcohol.
But you
It's
did.
fucked.
But then there was cigarettes, for example, right?
Yeah, just about. I think cigarettes were definitely an iffy one for a while, but then everyone would smoke in that time, so
Yeah,
I
and
think it
then-
was like pretty normal.
Yeah, but for example, in psychology, there's this big
Alcohol,
example.
there was a prohibition in America.
Yeah,
and
that's because of
America's where
history.
everything is.
But like for
for
psychology,
film,
there's a huge example on the fact that smoking when really.
No, we saw the recording. I thought the recording was off for a sec, but it's not. It's on. It's on, man.
Yeah, that's good. But like,
Jesus.
yeah, the fact that you would see people smoking lead smoking addiction in a way.
Yeah.
And
But the thing
so-
is, still now, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And I think it's from film. Like, because a lot of people, the main reason why you smoke is because you think it's cool.
Yeah, but why do you think it's cool, right? And it traces back to that.
Exactly.
right?
Clint Eastwood with a flipping cigarette.
Yeah, exactly. And
Back in the 70s also.
the thing is that now it's well known. Before, obviously, you wouldn't know,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
did decrease a bit because of that awareness.
Yeah.
But if
They never
that
censored
happened,
it, though. They never censored cigarettes, I don't think.
no, because I mean,
It was too
why
dumb.
would you? Yeah, exactly. Like it's already normalized in a way. Like
Yeah, but could you
by
change
many
that?
people. I would try.
Say, like, kids watch films from the 90s, but, like, kids from now, 2020s, do you think they'll watch a film from the 90s?
Yeah, not much, but the
as
thing
much
is
as-
that being extremist, I don't think it ever
apart from Pulp
works.
Fiction
Like going back to nothing
or
would not
Shawshank
work.
Redemption?
Yeah, okay,
Sorry, I'm
there's
like-
some good movies that are always going to be good.
They're,
right?
they're just like cult,
yeah,
aren't they?
yeah. But
Yeah.
if you would completely eliminate that, completely censor that, I don't think it would work because it's like saying to someone that smokes, do not smoke anymore from tomorrow.
No,
right?
I mean, it doesn't work. The only
so it
thing
should
I
be
don't want
gradual,
to see,
a gradual thing.
I don't
Yeah.
want to see in movies is flipping IQOS and electric
Yeah, for
electric
real.
cigarettes.
Maybe we're gonna get to
You're
that
never
at
going to
some
see
point.
that in one of my movies.
Yeah,
Never.
but I think I've never seen it in actual movies.
In
no.
actual movies, no. I
Which
think,
is weird to think. Because
to be
it's really
fair,
famous.
there are like prop cigarettes now.
Yeah, thankfully.
For movies that have a really like low amount of nicotine and tobacco, but that doesn't mean they don't have tar in it, so they
which
still
is
have the
handsome.
cancerous stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but they cost
I don't know
quite a
how it
bit, to be fair. I wanted to buy them because I've got cigarettes in my film. So
Yeah, but I don't know.
but yeah, I think we're going off topic.
Yeah, I mean, if we could talk about sexual images. in
Yeah, no,
movies
that's
as well, and
definitely
it
a
would be
weird one. I think
same reasoning, right?
America and England have a bit of a clash. Like one of them shows a lot of violence, but not sexual stuff.
Yeah?
And I think it's England that shows more sexual stuff than actual violence.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it's like that. But anyway,
But like because it does lead to different behaviors.
But then
as
you
well,
go
right?
and see something like American Pie, and there's like a full
Yeah.
nude thing, and you're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? You do actually find it kind of weird, don't you?
Yeah,
Because
but
you don't
because
expect it.
but it's also because I think on the person, because for example I barely watch some things that contain the
Yeah.
sexual contents, but I think if you do see them, then like for me already seeing them a couple of times, it does change a lot of perspectives.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
socially, and I think
And
it
that's
has even a
another
bigger
great big
effect.
topic to talk
Yeah,
about,
right, isn't it? Because violence is still really contained because we all know that it's wrong, right?
Yeah.
But when you talk about sexual behavior, it's not wrong. It's just a taboo,
Yeah.
right?
It's
So like the effect on the movie
It's
is
a
even
weird
bigger, and
one.
it's the same with cigarettes, I think.
it's a weird one. Yeah, because it's not like fully wrong. So people
Yeah.
have that thing where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. But then I guess sometimes it's exaggerated, which is a big problem.
Yeah, but I
But
think
in
yeah,
movies usually it isn't.
but yeah, with violence, don't you get
Well,
the
sometimes
same?
it is.
Like that exaggeration is not really recognized a lot of times by
Yeah.
people. They just think, okay, that's how the movie it is.
Yeah, I think that's the problem.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
That is a problem for
you
violence.
you have to criticize something, right? So because otherwise there will be no problems. So I'm not saying stop the movies, but contain them more, make more people like actually make the people aware that what's happening in the movie as reasons and it's in the movie. Because as we said before, that true crime has more effect probably because it's real.
Yeah.
So making sure that people in movies, especially historical reproductions, know that that's the movie.
Yeah.
That
But
still
it's
the
funny.
movies
It's
that
funny
say
how
real.
they promote true crime as well. It's like because people want to be like investigate the crime.
Yeah,
That's the whole
exactly.
thing. So it's like you're the investigator.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why you would want to watch it. To be fair,
No, but
is
for
you
sure,
are the
for sure.
investigator.
And they
You
are
try
interesting, right?
Yeah. I mean, if I watch true crime, I try to figure out what the fuck's
Yeah,
going on
exactly, me
first,
too.
and then I
But-
check on Google, and then I don't finish.
But
watching.
it is just, I think it just like reflects the fact that people that are creating those contents are doing it for their own purpose.
Yeah.
Right. They're
Yeah.
not seeing what
No, definitely.
the
Yeah.
consequences. They're going all in.
Yeah.
And
And
I
true
mean,
crime does numbers, especially
not
now. I think it's growing a lot, and it's becoming one of the biggest ways to make money
no idea, actually.
easily. It's not too difficult. I mean, it's a lot of footage that you have to play with. It's different from a movie because a movie you create the footage for.
Yeah, I
it.
mean, the plot is also has to be. Right now, there's
story,
a lot of things
yeah.
already happening, so the plot has
It's
to be
it's
really
a
good.
it's a
Yeah,
documentary, isn't it? It's like making a
Yeah.
documentary, like the Beatles documentary. I don't know if you've seen that, but that is crazy.
No, I haven't
The amount
seen
of
it, yeah.
footage they have.
Yeah,
It's from
but
their
look
whole
for it,
career.
Yeah.
Yeah,
through that.
that would do my head in.
But to be honest, like it's really good to watch, right?
Yeah.
Because it's interesting
Yeah.
and the negative emotions are stronger. So the thing is, you have to have these sort of parachutes that you use to not get negative effects because you don't want to ruin something that it's still a sort of form of art.
Yeah.
Because as it is with combat sports, as it is with other different forms of art, also movies with violence does
Yeah.
not mean that because there's violence is not a good thing.
No.
But you do
Definitely
want to
not.
have these parachutes to say like, we are doing this because it is a really good thing to
Yeah,
watch.
and it's
It's
important.
interesting.
For people to remember that a lot of the time the footage isn't real life.
Yeah, because every time I see a movie that says it's taken
Based
from
on a true
based on a true
story.
story,
But it
it's
is always
really-
different. It's always
yeah,
quite different.
it's
'cause
really
it's
modified.
based.
Yeah, it's based. It's not.
It's
the
not
real
the
story.
actual, yeah.
And
So
there's
there's
a
a lot
lot
of
of like
differences.
there are some big differences.
Big
sometimes
differences,
that
yeah.
makes it really
Sometimes
different.
it's killing someone that shouldn't be killed, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's just how
There's
it
some
is.
missing points.
It's to make it more entertaining, and
So yeah, I think
otherwise it would be a documentary.
if you will look for answers to what we talked about today, those will be like
Yeah,
the main takeaways.
definitely, yeah.
But it's not something that you have that we still don't have any clear answer. There's still some like gaps in research. It's also a whole movement that's evolving all the time. I mean, we talked about Tarantino a lot because it was the main topic of today, but
Yep.
Tarantino is already in the past in a way, right? Like,
Well, I wouldn't say that. Is
You're a fan,
His movie's coming. His 10th and last movie is coming soon, and that's the whole reason why I'm doing the blog.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. It's the hook. It's the hook for it.
But I think like there's a lot much more of like there's a lot
It
much
is coming
more
out.
than him. Like just because
Yeah.
he's really criticized for it, but
The
I
thing
don't
is-
think he's.
Yeah.
I don't see him as someone that has that effect because
No,
for
I think-
how good the movies are,
Yeah,
that it just tells you that either people are really looking for
The
violence,
story is really good.
or
Yeah.
the movie is just done really well, and so
Yeah.
those choices
And it's not just the movie,
were like
it's also
justified, right?
it's also the pre-production. The fact that he mostly writes his own films.
I mean, but people do
There's
not
some
focus
sort
on
of
that,
sentiment,
right? Like a lot
the
of times,
storyline.
that's like cutting the scalp. It's what
Yeah.
like what's left on with people. Like they do remember that,
Yeah.
but they don't remember the camera work, right?
No, well,
So-
depends.
Yeah, it depends on the
I
people.
mean,
but like
the
to
boot
be
shot.
real-
The boot shot's fucking sick.
Yeah, but
I'm doing that in my
still
days, by
think,
the way.
yeah, but I still think that they would remember more the violence than.
Yeah, probably. And that's
Well,
the problem.
maybe
That's the
the age,
problem.
but
That's why
yeah.
everyone asks him always, "What about the violence
Yeah.
and this and the other?"
Like,
Listen
but
to
yeah,
watch the movie though.
Yeah, but the question would be just like, could you make the movie still as good as it is by
Yeah,
taking
I think
that
it's
away?
quite a niche as well.
And maybe you would. I think maybe you would if there would be no scalp,
Yeah.
but there would be the rest of the movie. I don't think you would.
It wouldn't. It wouldn't affect it as much.
Yeah, I don't think it would.
It wouldn't.
That's
No,
the thing.
because
So
I
that's
think
a
it's a
fair
very
question
good
to ask.
film. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think
Well, it's a
especially
very
with
good film.
very good
Very good
producers, like they have the idea that's gonna stay like that because that's their whole idea. They don't want to change it because that's how they see it. That's like the whole picture. They want to give the whole picture. They don't want to give, like, take some pieces away because other people don't like it. you know?
Yeah. No, definitely.
So you have to leave them freedom to do what they're good at doing.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would still ask him, but I mean, there's also other problems.
Yeah,
It's not only
he's
about
still-
him
he's still
doing
around.
it very violent. It's also
yeah, I mean,
about
he's one.
other things.
He's one of
yeah.
them as well.
And that's the difficulty of acting upon this problem of media violence because
Yeah,
it's
there's
a
not just
factor.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't just blame it on media violence.
No. No, definitely. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I-
But it's really interesting to see, and like just having conversations, it makes you realize that if you always have to take into account everything around you,
Yeah.
not only what
Absolutely.
you're watching, and
Yeah. I mean,
like what do you believe? Are you an aggressive person?
that's the thing. It's like whenever I think of raising kids, it's like one mistake and you could get the kid traumatized. You know,
Yeah, but at the same time, I think one good thing could also
could also
have an
make a
effect, right?
difference. That's true. That's true.
So,
I've never looked
yeah.
at it like that. Man. I'm a negative person.
You are. But no, because I always think like if you do make a mistake as a parent, you can.
Yeah.
And then if the interactionist parent is able to just go and talk with the kid, making them understand because they're also the memory is not really strong at that age, and like you can still guide what their perception is. It's not set in stone,
That's true.
you know. But
yeah.
but of course it's going to
some
affect
some
right?
bits, especially. Yeah. Yeah.
Things are going to affect. But again,
Yeah.
not a perfect word.
Yeah, I
there's
guess
gonna be some
I guess
issues
it's those indelible ones that are difficult to then cancel.
But like, would you? I think everyone, because I do at least, you remember some like really bad scenes of movies that you watched as a kid, and like you
Yeah.
still remember.
Yeah,
They don't really affect you.
you know,
negatively.
in Indiana Jones, the one with Shia LaBeouf in the 2008 one. I think it's Skull something. Anyway,
I think I know
the
what you
guy
mean.
gets
I'm
eaten
not
by
sure.
the ants.
Oh, I don't remember.
That
scene.
is the worst. When I was a
Yeah,
kid, I was
but-
like, oh my god.
So like you do remember, and when you think about it, you're like, okay, man, that was really scary. But
Yeah.
it doesn't not really affect you negatively or bring you to any
No,
kind
no,
of anger.
no, it doesn't. No. I
So
mean,
like as a parent,
definitely
you
gets me
worry,
itchy when I think of it.
Yeah, but like easy, like it's not really a.
It's not a problem.
Yeah, maybe you have a physiological response. But really small though.
No, nothing much.
So like if you're thinking like that, then you think, okay, my kid is also not gonna have.
That's
like,
true.
Maybe just have that
Yeah.
in a long time, because you also care about the long term. Again,
definitely.
media violence, short term is gonna create aggressive behavior. That doesn't mean that they're gonna. Keep
Long
doing
term
it.
won't be. Yeah,
Long term is not shown. That's the thing.
it's not showing.
There's not scientific empirical evidence.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah.
So
Well, thanks very much, Jack, for coming.
no worries. It was
And
really fun.
Jacopo,
Yeah. Yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
you.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your watch.